Hello, I'm Janice from Measuring2fit. I help people get started on sewing, sewing with the sewing machine, right? So today I just want to talk about the exercises that you start off with as a beginner. So as a beginner, where do you start? To me, right, this is my way of helping people. I teach people with techniques first, and then with the technique to apply it, make something simple. So it's not about projects. For me, it's not about projects, and it's more about techniques. So one of the first thing as a beginner that you want to start off with is starting off with sewing the straight line. So for my course, right, I will have an exercise whereby you first start off with sewing the straight line, right? So we put a paper on top of your fabric and we will sew the straight line, right? Telling you to guide your fabric in such a way into the sewing machine whereby you try to keep to this line that is drawn, right? This will be something like if you draw with a chalk on the fabric, and you will need to follow the line on the fabric. So sewing the straight line. So but you see, sewing the straight line, there are many ways of sewing with the sewing machine in order to get a straight line. You will also have an exercise whereby you are given one plain fabric like this, and you will still be able to sew the straight line, right? So if you have a plain fabric like this, how do you sew the straight line, right? So there is ways in which we will show you how, by using some of the gadgets that already come, some features that already come with your sewing machine, and you will be able to sew the straight line even on a blank sheet like this, right? So even on a blank sheet like this, you can sew a straight line without lines drawn. Why is this important? It is important because sometimes when you are sewing your projects, you don't draw line, right? You don't draw line on them. When you don't draw line, how are you going to still be able to have a same distance, right? One line to the other, still having a same distance. This is important. So that's why in our part 1 of our 6-part beginners course, we will show you the different ways. There are more than one way, right, to sew the straight line without even having lines drawn. And that is what we will do in part 1 of the sewing course with Measuring2fit, right? So, well, I do have a YouTube channel whereby I do share some techniques and some different information. Some are knowledge-based videos, some are technique-based video on my YouTube. You can go on my YouTube and look, because I'm not sure, do you like the way I do things? Because there will be different people who help beginners get started. So there are different ways. So you may like my style, you may not like my style, I'm not sure. So why don't you go and explore my YouTube channel to see whether do you like my style, right? Or if you like, you can start off with my now January and February 2021 offer, where I give you a form whereby you let me have your email address and I give you access to part 1 of my course. You do not have to pay at the onset, and then after you have done the exercises, you decide what you like to pay for what you've learned from part 1 of my course, right? And in the part 1, there will be a small project that you will be applying sewing the straight line to make, right? So then you make something simple, and then you decide how much you want to pay after that, right? So that's how my part 1 course is, and this is what is being offered now in January and February. That means you pay as you like, right? So after you've done your first part, you show me the project that you have made. Send me a picture of it, and I will. If you still want to continue, you can do part 2, and we can go on, right? You can do part 2, and you still do not need to pay. You finish the exercise, then you decide to pay again. So that's what I'm doing for January and February in 2021. So I hope this helps you get started on your sewing. You don't have to be committed to the whole course. You just do part by part, and then you decide whether you want to continue on to the next part, right? So that's from me today, Janice from Measuring2fit, signing off with wishing you a joyful journey in sewing, just like I do. I do enjoy my sewing very much. Enjoy your sewing. See you again.